So we are discussing these three shlokas of Brahma Samhita, beginning with this Chintamani Prakara Satmashikalpa Vikshna. That shloka describes the abode of Krishna, which is adorned, Brahma in his mature meditation is on Samadhi on Goloka. And he's, Prabhupada says, this is his PhD thesis, Brahma Samhita, and he's expanding what the relation within his heart. He's saying the abode of Krishna is like Chintamani. It is made of, just like this word is made of Panchadhatu, that is made of Chintamani. Laksha Vriksha, and then there are trees there. And these trees are not ordinary trees. Kalpa Vriksha, they can satisfy any desire. And basically the soul doesn't have any need in it, but it gives them the love of Krishna. And then there are Surabhi cows, again giving milk in the form of, this is the abode description. Chintamani Prakara Sadmashikalpa Vriksha Laksha Vrate Surabhi Abhipalayanta. Surabhi cows are there. And Lakshmi, and the millions of goddess of Fortuna waiting to offer service to Krishna. This is the meditation offering on the Goloka. And then next he goes, referring to the Lakshmi, basically referring to the gopis there, because gopis are Adi Lakshmi. And then next shloka goes to the beautiful form of Krishna. Venum Pananta Maravinda Dalaya Taksham. Okay. Baraha Vasanta Vasitam Buddha Sundaram Kandarva Koti, so beautiful form of Krishna, where Krishna is holding flute. This shloka further goes into, continues with the previous verse, that he is holding the flute in his hand. He has a beautiful garland of flowers. And one more information here, bent in three places. Prabhupada says, a very graceful form of the Lord. Krishna's always the painting is like that. Krishna standing and bent in three places. So what are the lessons here? Number one is that absolute word is not without variety. When we have a meditation on Supreme Lord, we think of something without variety. Krishna always has a garland. He has a moon locket. That's all described here. His arms are adorned with jewels. He has a flute in his hand. So that is how it is situated. And then the most important point, this shloka then adds up, is that Krishna is always inclined in loving sentiments with his devotees, and this shloka is particularly referring to the pastime with the gopis. Now this is how the spiritual world is situated. Now somebody may say that, what is this pastime with the gopis? How is this amorous rasa? Prabhupada explains that this is called the Adi rasa. Now in this world also we see, the tendency is there, because we are part and parcel of God. A drop of sea water has the qualities of the sea. Here also we see between opposite sex there may be a tendency for loving relation. But here, because it is reflected on matter, therefore it is called perverted reflection. Just like any reflection on water, it is inverted. So it may lose because of material contamination, being reflected in the three modes of material nature. This loving sentiment of Krishna with the opposite sex loses its pure color of love, and what we know in this world, it becomes as lust, and that is degraded. But originally, as Prabhupada says, yes, in this world the tendency should be regulated. Therefore Prabhupada also in his movement, as so many people came forward when he was preaching in the West, and Prabhupada was very careful. He saw that they were coming boys and girls together, because that every girl has a boyfriend, every boy has a girlfriend. Like slowly it is becoming in India, the same degraded condition. So Prabhupada is to be silent about that, because how it was going to preach in the beginning. But when they came to Prabhupada, the same boys and girls are growing in Krishna consciousness. When they came to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, we want to accept you as a spiritual master. Prabhupada said, that is fine, but you cannot continue this. Straight. You want to take Diksha, that is fine. But before that, first you should get married. Now how you can? I can allow all this. You know? So he was very strict. But he was very clever. Because he knew the power of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is so powerful. The Prabhupada says, don't make my movement look like a movement of rules and regulations. That is what scares people today. People have no capacity. People are sitting on the bodily platform. Everybody. And no idea that this bag of glands and bones. I am not that. People don't have the faintest of the idea about this. So much they are trapped in the bodily conditioning and they are dragged here and there in that platform. When you tell them you're not the body, it's unimaginable for them. And it is not just theoretical to apply. And on this bodily platform is that people run after this loving pastimes. Now we have so many times spoken about this. How we can think about that? First, the body is a bag of stool and urine, of so many things, bones, glands, flesh. But actually what happens is that because we are used to the spiritual world, we start identifying a body in this world with the spiritual world. That's how people get enchanted. That is why when we have an accident, we get a shock of our life. Sometimes, the bus, recently some college bus fell down something. And faculty, whole face is broken. He did something very bad. Now when he looks at his face, he cannot even imagine why does he get a shock. Why a shock? Why is some kind of a unimaginable shock? It's just a bag, What is causing the shock? The shock is there because the spiritual body is not injured. And you thought it is the spiritual body. When a hand is cut, general public, unless they're trained, doctors are trained because they are able to handle, but it pains, And for them also it is difficult, but they don't vomit. But it's difficult, they're mentally trained for it. But there is some strangeness. Why? What is so strange about it? Because spiritual body doesn't get cut like that. And we also, when we have a small operation something, we also come to reality that actually what bag I am carrying around me is not something divine. It is just a bag of glands and some tubes and that's all it is. And I have nothing to do with this. Because artificially we can create a bag, a body, and we can have something for a liver, something for a heart, internally or externally we can connect it. Some organs today they can have implant, they can put inside. Just like they put for heart some implant which keeps giving that heartbeat. You can even kidneys, inside or outside maybe, you can do all advanced, but the fact is we cannot give life to that body like that. You take a bag and put bones and put all these organs. It is not alive. Correct? But we somehow what happens is that we start identifying. The very reason is that because in the spiritual world, similar forms are there. And we start identifying. And when there is a cut or something, we get a shock of all that. So, the Krishna's form is eternally situated. Therefore, Prabhupada used to say, accept Krishna as your son. Neither he will die, neither you will die. Eternally you can enjoy sweet pastimes. Accept Krishna as a friend, same way. Any relationship with Krishna is so sweet. And the amorous, a loving relationship with Krishna as conjugal love is considered the highest of all the relationships. And in the spiritual world, that is what affects Krishna the most. Okay? That is the most. And Krishna is bending beautifully and enjoying this loving pastime with his devotees. So we should not mistake that any way this is connected to the behavior of boys and girls in this world. Prabhupada gives an example, and we can also give a simple example. Just like gold and iron, they look same. But the fact is, if you know a little more, it's different. The same way, if I am wearing some iron thing around me and I am thinking it is gold, and I can live in that trip till the time I see real gold. The moment I see somebody actually wearing real gold and I am wearing imitation jewelry, I can know. Otherwise, if imitation jewelry was as good as real gold jewelry, then who will buy gold? It is different. It cannot match. The same way, maybe the cost is 1,000 times different sometimes. You get, 20 rupees something you can get gold color necklace, but a real gold one, there is a lot of difference. So same way, when we have, when we read from Bhagavatam about Radha Krishna pastimes, when we read, that is the very purpose. Krishna manifested this pastimes here. When we read that, we lose interest in the iron-like rubbish imitation or the real gold-like pastimes of the Lord. Correct? The imitation jewelry is imitation jewelry. When we see the real jewelry, we lose the fancy or attraction or enchantment we have to imitation jewelry. So all of us are attracted in this world to a certain extent to what? To imitation loving pastimes. These are not real. These are imitation pastimes. So when we get exposed to the real pastimes of the spiritual world, of Krishna with the gopis, then what happens to us? We are woken up to reality and we feel so blissful. So this shloka we can take it that way. He is bending in 3 places. He is so beautiful, situated in Goloka, surrounded by gopis, surrounded by cows, and he is blowing his flute, and then his beautiful form, bending in 3 places, is very enchanting, and Krishna is garlanded with flowers, and he is enjoying the loving pastime with his devotees. The variety is there. The spiritual world is full of varieties. It is not just, some Lord, the description. Therefore, deities always, Krishna was in the battlefield also with a garland. He likes to be a garland. Nobody can stop him. He is always, they say when you look at Krishna, it looks like somebody with a theatrical actor. It looks like that, even in Krishna book. But Krishna looks so beautiful. It's very pleasing. Okay, this is a meditation on Brahma. So here is a description of the Krishna's form. There is a big philosophical analysis here. Beyond that. Anyway, so Angani as a Sakalendriya is that any limb of Krishna can do the work of any other limb. Krishna's body is not at all material. So Krishna appears in this world. Even there was once Krishna came to Mathura and he asked a washerman. He was going with a very nice clothes which he wanted to offer to Kamsa. So Krishna had come, so he said, give me some of this clothes. The washerman started shouting, shameless man, these clothes belong to the king, how dare you ask for yourself? Krishna took his hand and just cut his head off. So his all full potency exists in every limb of Krishna. Just like when we offer bhoga to Krishna. And at that time, Prabhupada says that Krishna just by seeing can eat. How can somebody eat by seeing? Sometimes Prabhupada says, when you are chanting the prayers itself, with love for Krishna to accept, so the prayers itself you can eat. Even the creation of the material world is like that. Krishna just glances at the material energy and the whole material energy is created. Correct? For us, we see with the eyes, we hear with the ears. Krishna can see with the ears and Krishna can see with the ears and he can hear from his eyes. He's completely no limitation on his body. His transcendental body is so situated. Any other ray, Krishna does one thing from another sense. He replaces the activity. So anyway, that is the potency of Krishna. And the jivas don't have that, at least in the conditioned state. Actually, in the spiritual world, what happens, you have to go to see them. Okay? And there he also mentioned there are 4 attributes which are unique to Krishna, which even Narayana does not have. What are the 4 attributes? One is the Rupa Madhurya. Krishna's form is so beautiful and that we had description of that. We had description of that. Arupa Madhuryam, that it is so nice. Krishna is so beautiful. And then we have Venu, Krishna is playing the flute. That also is this shloka that talked about. Then we have the Krishna is very intimate devotee, amorous pastimes, very beautiful pastime with intimate devotees. And he has set out these intimate devotees to have these pastimes. So these four attributes, even Narayana does not have the privilege. You don't see Narayana holding a flute, Narayana standing, bending in three places. No. These are all privilege. And these are all special privilege of the Krishna form. So, the meditation, sometimes what happens, you have to think about God. Everybody says we should think about God. How to think about God? What to think about God? Imagine we don't know how much benefit Brahma is giving us. Now suppose you want to pray to Krishna. What is the objects of prayer? What is it doing? How does it look? Correct? This is what Brahma is giving the confidential information. There is no room for imagination. Oh, God looks like this. Some people have that. You cannot make image of God. Right? But there is a description here. Why you cannot make image? In fact, in India, the temples we have the form of the Lord constituted. Now this is based on the revelation of Brahma. Somebody asked Prabhupada that how can you say Krishna looks like this? So Prabhupada gives a very simple answer. He says that you might not have seen your great-grandfather, but except what you heard from your father about it, you have not seen. When you hear from somebody. So similarly, through the parampara, you have to hear about the form of Krishna. I might not have seen, but I am hearing from the parampara. When Krishna was manifest in this world, he was visible to the public. Correct? The people have seen him in this form. Number one. Number two is that we are hearing from the parampara, like Brahma is our Acharya in the parampara. He is explaining how Krishna is situated, the Supreme Lord is situated. Our Supreme Lord is not just some ball of fire or energy. He is a beautiful personality, ever young, Navayonamacha. And he is standing, bending in three places, holding a flute with a garland on his neck, and through any one of his limbs. And another point he says is that his form is not material. Angani yasa sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti cha ananda chinmaya. His form is like that. Ananda chinmaya form. It is not a material form constituted of the three modes. Material forms in Bhagavad Gita it is explained. It is made of what? All the material energy. Ahankaram itiyam te vinna prakriti ashtada. What is the shloka? Bhumi apo manalo vayu kham mano buddhi evacha ahankara itiyante vinname prakriti ashtadha. Krishna says these 8 things constitute the material energy. ठीक है? Bhumi apo manalo vayu kham mano buddhi evacha ahankara itiyante vinna prakriti ashtadha. These 8. But in the form of Krishna or even in the form of the soul, these material energies are absent. It is situated in a different way. So that is what Brahma is explaining here. So one limb of his body can also do work of another limb. And it is Ananda Chinmaya also. It is not like material world, any form you see is full of misery, it is temporary, it is full of ignorance, the person doesn't know anything. No, Krishna's form is fully, he knows everything. That is what comes in. And it says Ujjvala, Ananda, bliss, Chit is truth, and Sat. We say Satchidananda, it is arranged in another way. Ananda, Chit, Sat, and Ujjvala, full of dazzling splendor. That is always there. When Vaman Deva came to the assembly of the Bali Maharaj, so dazzling. Whenever Krishna appears, when Devatas pray to him, he is so beautifully dazzling. It is difficult for them to see also. It is like millions of suns together. That is the beautiful form of Krishna shining. In the movies, they artificially create. What they do? I usually dull fellow, they put a lot of light in. So it reflects, no? So it looks like the person is dazzling. Ujjvala. And we start becoming enchanted because our tendency is to get enchanted by Krishna. But there is no Krishna here, there is a useless fellow, but so much light is dazzling. Now this light is not naturally coming. If you see, they put some 100 halogens on that person. Even in normal thing, studios, you see small studios, they have some 10-12 halogens for directly and so many reflected. Here in the movies they put, my God, how much? Even an ordinary man looks dazzling. So that is artificial. Krishna is naturally dazzling. We have come to imitate. And we, when we go and see that in a movie, oh, so dazzling, we get enchanted. Okay? Just like some fellow is there in this ordinary dull fellow who walks on the sun and the sunlight will dazzle. Because the natural light of the Lord is coming. So Krishna doesn't need sun to dazzle his figure. Correct? Actually everybody is so dull, the form is so dull. It is because of the lights and all it looks dazzling. And then we get enchanted. Correct? It's only a bag of stool and urine. But Krishna's form is not made of stool and urine, sir. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. It is Sachidananda Vigraha. Okay? And Ujjvala Vigraha. So this is same. See, just like we have in the beginning of Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. So same Sachidananda is rearranged. Ananda Chit Sat Vigrahasya. His form again re-emphasized. His form is eternal. It is not like the material form which are temporary. Chit is full of knowledge and Ananda, full of bliss. And that is the form of Krishna. That's why, we see that when a boy and girl want to attract each other, how much they laugh. Because they want to show, I'm full of happiness. I'm full of knowledge. Like that they like to show. And then as they grow up, they want to dye their hairs, the boys. Nowadays they go for what they call facelift. They spend so much money in plastic surgery so that continue to look young. They try, but artificially imitating the spiritual form. It is always fresh, always young, always full of knowledge, always full of bliss. So that is the form of Krishna. And through any one of his form, he can do work of any other form. That is his unique capacity. Srila Prabhupada ki, Brahma Samhita ki.